Love, unity, having fun, all those good things. This is Brother Dooley, aka the Being Shaman. It's been a minute, been a good while since I made a video, and I have a few things that I want to share with people. Some information about some combo frog medicine. The last ceremony we did with and the toad medicine, and some other things that we want to definitely share with the family out there. But before I do, I definitely have my good friend here, Brother Diamond Spirit, you know what I mean, up in the building, you know what I mean. I just want to give a shout out to him, let people see what's going on, God. How's everything, man? How you feeling?
You change the camera angle, man.
Yeah, let me see how I could turn this around. Oh, I see it. I see it. Yeah.
So yeah, I just maintain.
How you doing, man?
Love, peace, and happiness is my focus, y'all. You know I want to definitely make that known now and evident for sure. That we use these medicines to be able to elevate ourselves consciously.
Yeah.
Consciously, but however, subconsciously, we have to realize that we have a lot of things that we need to get again back into the healing factor of controlling the reptilian aspect of the brain.
Now,
subconscious level, get that back in order.
Now, peep steez, peep steez, real quick, God. I was there was an article out talking about an OK Player magazine. I think that's a online magazine. You know what I mean? You could put some beats on in the background if you want. One of these editors reached out to me and said, "Yo, I'm doing an article on blacks in the psychedelic movement."
Okay.
And he says, when I looked it up, he said, I didn't see any information about anyone on there. He said, when I Googled it, the only person I actually seen was just you on it. So he reached out to me, and I was telling him that, there's a lot of people out there, people of color, melanated folks, Moors, what have you, that are into this movement.
Sure.
So I was telling them about Baba Kalindi Yee. I was telling them about others, especially that have contributed to the Detroit Psychedelic Conference, So we out there, we doing our thing, you know what I mean? And what was very interesting lately, hold on, somebody doing this message thing here. What was interesting lately is I've been doing a lot of combo with people.
That's beautiful.
For people who aren't familiar with combo or what combo is and all that, it's frog medicine, you know what I mean? And you could find it throughout the Amazon, you know what I mean? You can find it throughout Brazil, Peru, different places. And I've been working with a lot of people here in my town to be able to deal with the combo, you know what I mean? What was interesting is, yeah, man, what was interesting, one night I had about 8 people in here with the combo. And I'm learning more and more about that medicine, you know what I mean? So I'm learning more about what it can do, what it's good for. One testimony I got from a good friend of mine, this guy has arthritis, you know what I mean? So he's a graffiti writer. So he hasn't been able to really draw personally for almost about 6 years. About almost 6-7 years. He hasn't been able to draw, able to do his art. He told me for the first time he was able to make a clenched fist over 6-7 years now. You know what I mean? With all the medicine that he's been taking at the hospital and stuff, it hasn't really done anything for him.
No justice.
So I see him now doing his drawing. He come over here and chill. He's doing his drawing now, and he's not as much in pain. And I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I was like, wow, this is some of this medicine definitely deals with results of pain. He has psoriasis, so he had medication that would break out his skin and stuff. So, and when he took the frog medicine, his skin is not like not like ashy, but he would have I forget these type of things on his skin, but he was clearing out. Yeah, it kind of like asthma thing, right? Yeah. So one night when we had about 8 folk here, and it's interesting because when you're doing combo, man, very purging type of medicine, you know what I mean? So you have to drink a lot of water before you do this medicine, because it help assist to get the stuff, the toxins and stuff out of you. So I had people all, you know, doing the medicine. And right here, this is like a treatment I had when I was in Costa Rica. I made it look like an ankh on with combo treatment, because thing is, you burn the first layer of the skin, and then you put the venom from the frog on the skin, you know what I mean? And the yeah, and the medicine works about 20 minutes, goes through your system, and it works on many different levels. You know what I mean? In the jungle, it was traditionally used for infection, malaria, also used for the hunters in the jungle, so they could be able to have more endurance, be able to run all night, don't have to sleep so much, don't have to eat that much. You know what I mean? So it was used for many different things. But when I had the family here that night, one dude who had, I guess he had pain in his knees. He first came off and said, "Yo, Dooley, I don't have no pain in my, I don't feel it." Wow. I was like, "What?" And then this other dude that was there, he's like, "Yo, I had a pain in my hand, I don't feel it. It was near my finger." Wow. And then this other cat said he had a pain near his foot. And then he said he didn't feel nothing.
All praises due to Allah.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. And I was like, wow. So at first I thought these people was just playing around with me. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, man, these cats are trying to pull my leg. You know what I mean? This is crazy. I just put the medicine on you, and you know, they did their little purging and throwing up, but all of a sudden they saying they don't feel this or feel that. You know what I mean?
That's how instant it works.
That's how instant it works. And combo is legal in most countries, in most states. It's completely legal in the United States. I went through a training myself to be able to learn it, you know. But you know, this Brazil, it's illegal unless you're part of the Matsi tribe or what have you. But there's most places it's illegal actual medicine. They have over 50 patented medicines in the pharmaceutical industry now off of that fraud.
The FDA won't approve it.
So you know, these things work, and I'm excited now in the age I'm at right now in life, where I'm seeing direct results with Mother Nature, with Mama Nature. She has a lot of things to help assist you in your life progress. You know what I mean? I've done videos about ayahuasca, mushrooms, and different other medicines, and also I've done videos in the past of talking about why we really don't see that many Black people or melanated people in the psychedelic community, or the ethogen community, or you know what have you.
They don't want us to become stronger like we used to be.
Yeah.
You know, our history is a mystery for a reason, because we don't know how mysterious we were. You know what I'm saying? But the mysterious powers of Creator. When we generate massive amounts of Creator's energy, we surpass this physical realm. We become Creator literally. In one way, in 3 ways: physically, mentally, and spiritually, all at once, though. And when you do that, you're able to deal with all the energy entities around you and completely cause life to manifest. And they have to be thankful for your existence, and they will appreciate it and give token to your appreciation. The reason why is that is because if you bow first to any being, it will bow in due time. It's only a matter of time before it must bow. And if it doesn't bow, it's gonna bow in death. Eventually, it'll bow in death.
Interesting. Yo, you know what's interesting, though, Mr. is that peace. Excuse me. What's interesting, brother, is that like Baba Kalindi says, in an interview, he was talking actually one time, I was talking to Elder. He said there's over 300 known psychoactive plants in medicine that they use in Africa alone, you know? So this is part of our tradition.
How many?
Over 300. That's known, and it's you know, and then it's even more, you know, because when we talk about things undiscovered, you know, when you talk about uncharted land, and also the acts of slavery, we understand that the shamans, the medicine men, was the ones that were first knocked off, killed off, along with the drums being outlawed, so you couldn't play them. So the thing that's interesting, bro, is this is again part of our culture. It's part of heritage. It's in our blood. It's in our DNA. But along the lines of slavery, along the lines of different things, transatlantic slave trade and all these other things, Jim Crow, all this stuff, a lot of the traditions were lost, you know what I mean, or forgotten or killed off. And if not, we're having to go underground, you know what I mean? So when you say that the powers that be don't want people to get involved with these teaching plants and the fungi because it empowers people, it definitely does. And it allows a person to go back to their true nature of their true nature of themselves and the true nature of reality. When you said becoming God, it reminded me of the Bufo experience. You know, I'm gonna just jump right straight to the Bufo. The thing is that the last time I took Bufo was is that face that joint still on too?
It's about to be on right now.
Yeah. The last time I was able to take the Bufo was probably around July.
Around July? Okay.
So that's about, I say about almost, I probably didn't, last time I took Bufo was probably 5 months ago, 5-6 months ago. And I took it back to back during that time. It was a very, very, very powerful experience. You know what I mean? Very powerful. I mean, the only thing I can compare it to was some of my very high dose mushroom experiences, particularly with the particular mushroom penis envy, which is a very potent mushroom. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the Bufo is 5-MeO DMT. Shoot you straight, you're right there. You're like catapulted right into singularity. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's how it was for me, my last experience when I was sitting with the shaman, and I experienced what they called an ego death. You know what I mean? And experienced also that level of not feeling, but knowing I was connected to everything in existence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember when I had that experience, it was like if someone seen a rock or a pebble being thrown into a pool of water and seeing the ripple effect throughout the pool of water. That's what it felt. It was like a ripple effect that started from my core and expanded out, you know, infinitely. So I remember at that point, I had to let out a scream.
Right.
It was like, ah, and it was, that scream connected to me. It was a witness of some type, in a release of some type to acknowledge, to acknowledge the oneness. And I remember at that time, I was like, wow, this is what enlightenment is. This is what the Zen masters, what the Indian yogis and sages and mystics have been describing for years. So, and at that point, I remember how I understood that everything is divine, even if it doesn't know it's divine.
True.
Even if could be the grimiest of grimy nigga, or the lowest of lowest dimensional being or entity. It's masked. It's masked. It's masked itself. It's masked. God has masked itself within its own illusion. Deep. All right. That's what's so deep. All right. Now, what I'm saying here, people, what I'm saying is that I realize that God and that word itself is such a limited description of Great Spirit, and even Great Spirit is such a limited description of what we call we call this energy.
He's limitless, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And what's interesting? What's interesting with this is that within that experience of that Bufo, it allowed me to understand that Great Spirit or God or Goddess or what we are at our true essence and core, it's constantly seeking experience which allows them to
manifest.
which allows them to learn more about its own self. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was blown away because I was like, how can something that knows everything in the all-knowing still have room to learn? So it masks its own self in its own illusion, even from the lowest dimensional frequency. This happened to me again, taking the Bufo again. And when I did it again, the sister that was there, she said, I seen you, Dooley, and you turned into Buddha. She had said you had nothing but just a smile on your face. And occasionally I said things out loud, which I remember, which I was saying, we are one, you know what I mean? God is love. Because when you're at that frequency, and I'll tell you where I went again. When I smoked it, and when you're dealing with Bufo, you have to learn about Qigong. You have to learn about the art of deep breathing, because shaman tells you breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in.
The diaphragm.
Use your diaphragm, breathing, and and you hold it, you swallow the medicine, you breathe in some more, and then from my body go numb, limp. And my fellow soldiers there, comrades, help lay my body down on the floor. And at that moment, once again, being brought into a level of singularity, of oneness. And it was like the great spirit of God was giving me infinite scenarios to show you that how vast he is, she is, how it is. And those vast scenarios were showing you, yes, the crackhead on the corner is God. Yes, the guy over here that's hustling is God. Yes, the cockroach crawling on the floor is God. Yes, and getting a disease is God. And getting a cure is God. And they gave infinite scenarios. And it was like a wave of information given to you. One wave of wisdom, another wave of wisdom, another wave of understanding given to you. And it was beautiful. And at that moment, I knew I was God. I knew that at that point that there was no distinguishing between me and the essence of the I am. There was no distinguishing at all. And it was beautiful. Now, what I noticed with a lot of people that were there, what I noticed, and this is what I noticed even when I was doing research with Bufo medicine or toad medicine, is that one, it's considered to be one of the most potent psychedelics on the planet. It's up there with many other type of potent teaching plants and fungi, including iboga or ibogaine and others, teaching plants and shrubs and stuff that can sometimes last more than 24 hours and such. But Bufo is interesting because again, it gives a person a glimpse of death. Mm-hmm. It is the initiation.
So rites of passage.
It is the rites of passage and the initiation, the medicine that was given to the initiates. It wasn't given to the people that were mediocre. No. It wasn't given to the people that were just babies or newbies in knowing the spiritual path. That would be a little too much for those type of individuals. This medicine traditionally was given to in the mystery school to the priest and the priestess. It was given to them because they could handle the frequency of becoming God.
And be able to get the message
of becoming a living God. You know what I mean? Now, and giving the information back to the tribe, channeling the information, being a channel for healing at that moment, all those things, infinite things that wanted to happen at that moment. All right, bring out the star elders, whatever that was needed at that moment. But the thing is, this is that most people do not believe that they're God. When they say they're a God, that's a level of blasphemy. That's a level, people were burned at the stake for that. All right. People were killed for that. When you would proclaim that, even if we want to get so radical and even say, well, when Yahshua, Isa said, hey, you know, I am God. You know what I mean? And what happened to him? He got stoned, he got hanged, he got ridiculed, and he was just trying to bring a message to people and say, I am God and you are God. You will do things greater than me. Now, when a person understands that they're God, that becomes scary for a lot of people who are asleep. And a lot of people are asleep because they have basically been indoctrinated their whole life. And their whole life have given them a level of limitation.
Exactly.
They say you are limited to this experience of being a human being when you're much more than that. Okay? When these sacred plants, teaching plants, fungi, meditations, yoga, all these different things that a person can use as a tool for their own inner awakening, when a person sees their own inner awakening, there is no more indoctrination. They know that these books have been a tool to keep people asleep, called religion. All right? They want to let you know that something is inside of you when everything is you.
That's right.
All right? And when you understand everything is you, and when you enter these states of mind and these experiences, it could be very scary for a person who is very limited thinking they're just a human. It could be very scary. For some people, it could be so scary they might even go crazy. True. All right? Now, truth, I'll give you facts. People who are at the Bufo experience, I told some of these people, this is a medicine. This is no walk in the park medicine. All right? This is not just you're going to be sipping on some this or smoking on that. It's going to be much more than that, my friends. This is not smoking no blunt or microdosing with a little mushrooms or anything. No, this is a very heavy duty, respected medicine. Mm-hmm. And if you don't respect it, guess what? It will kick your ass.
That's right.
Okay? For those who have seen documentaries that people can type up like Toad Medicine or Bufo on YouTube or what have you, and they could come across like Viceland or Vice documentary. They have a video on there on Vice talking about Toad, and I believe it's Dr. Jerry or Dr. Octavio. Which that brother, I was supposed to sit with him in New York one time. I went to New York. I was about to sit with him. One of the elders called me down and said, hey, you got to do some medicine with Dr. Octavia. And it was raining that day. And that brother likes to do the ceremonies on the beach.
Okay.
So it was raining. So I didn't get a chance to do it with him. But when you're persistent about something, it will manifest. It's just the law of attraction. It's definitely the law of attraction because that magnetic thought just showed itself a couple of weeks later and said, hey, well, another shaman in town, and like you could do it that day. So the thing is this, I was telling people, like, if people go on Vice and they do some research on the Toad, they will see from those videos like people bugging, going off, screaming, yelling, crawling around, and that's what happened. Becoming animals, and that's what happened even this weekend. Yes, that past weekend when the shaman when we experienced the Bufo.
Absolutely.
Now there was two brothers that were there with me who is seen one of our good brothers that went through something, and I'm not naming any names, I'm not giving any locations, and I'm not dropping anything. This is sacred work, and what happens in the circle stays in the circle. So we have something called confidentiality. Just like someone that goes to a therapist or goes to some place where they say, hey, what stays in that room stays with the therapist. I am not naming any names, but I'm sharing with you the experiences out there to the public, because people need to know these things can help people.
And the healing.
Okay? And the healing is there. And what we do is talk about healing and love.
That's right.
On my channel. That's all right. And if a person needs to go to travel to these places to get the medicine, be it. If you have to go find it and manifest it in your backyard, be it. Yes. Because this is your God-given right. You have a God-given right to be healthy and happy and well being and have a sense of well-being
Wholesome.
or wholesome. That's your God-given right.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So,
Only God would want to be wholesome.
so guess what? Check this out. When I see one of our good friends going through a difficult time in his Bufo experience, he went to a place where when he took it, he started rolling on the floor repeatedly, back and forth. It was something in him that was fighting himself. All right, and like I tell a lot of people, with this medicine, you have to not only with Bufo, but other teaching shamanistic plants as well. You have to learn to first have a level of trust, and a level of letting go, confidence and learning to let go and trust the universe. That takes a lot of letting go. You know what I mean? And a lot of people can't do that. Surrender. A lot of people can't surrender coming from a society that's stuck on control. You know what I mean? A society that's in a program that's stuck on, I have to have everything controlled in my life. You know what I mean? I'm a control freak. You know, those type of people don't do so well when they start to have to learn how to surrender with this medicine. Or surrender to your higher self. So what happens is brother was fighting, going off, and I must commend him because first of all, I'm not saying anything to put any of these individuals down. They have tremendous courage. First of all, to take the medicine first of all. Because most people ain't gonna even walk through that door. Because most people, when they say I'm conscious or I'm woke or whatever, all this stuff, a lot of this stuff is just a fad. A lot of this stuff is like, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon.
It's not a lifestyle.
And it's not a lifestyle, because a lot of people are jumping on this because this is the new thing to do.
Right.
This shouldn't be something you should not be motivated to take sacred medicine because it's the end thing to do. You take the sacred medicine because it's a calling. Because you're something deep within your soul, deep within your essence that is calling you, that's yearning for a change in your life, that's asking for a change in your life, that's willing to say, I'm ready to wake up. That's a difference. That's a difference between a fad. All right. So I'm not downing any of these individuals that came to do this ritual, to do this medicine, because they had tremendous courage just to walk through the door.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but the brother that was growling, going off and things, Yo-Yo be getting in, right? She be doing that dance joint. Yeah. You have my wife, Yo-Yo. Hold on. Let me get in. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, you be getting in there. Hold on. Oh, we missed it on this one. Okay, we'll get another moment. But what's interesting is when he was growling, when he was crawling around, going off, the dude started hitting himself.
Oh yeah.
The dude literally started hitting himself, started scratching himself, and it was scary. It was a painful experience. And the two brothers that were supposed to go after them niggas got shook. They was like, yo. Dude, they was like, yo, I had to pull them in the corner over there in the hallway, yo, cause dude, they had that look on their face like, nah, yo, fuck that, I ain't doing that shit, dog. Like I pulled them in the corner, he's like, yo, I don't know about that, yo. And you know how you don't have to take the medicine, but you could be just around it. And you could be so sensitive now that you open to it. The only thing I was
with that dude.
Yeah.
Like there was one point where the drum was just going. The vibration was just so crazy, and I was right next to it, and I just remember like, oh my gosh, she put me in a trance. I felt my head going down.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I see all these visions, and then I'm going up, out of the field into the sky. The minute I did that, homeboy yelled out a scream. I was like,
You was right there. You was right there with him. You was right there with him. And these things happen very much to people who are very connected to these medicines. I had a guy that I went to the retreat with in Costa Rica when I was learning the combo, and this guy would get sick a week before he would take combo. He would feel all the symptoms of combo even before he put it on his body. Wow. So some people are very sensitive to the medicine. I was sensitive at that time because at that point I seen in what was going on in both of those dudes' heads. Yeah. They was tripping. They was like, nah, I ain't taking that. And one of them, I ain't gonna name his name, but first thought that came to him was like, yo, that shit's like bath salt. I ain't taking that shit. That's the shit that came in his body. He's like, yo, that's bath salt. You know what I mean? So I had to not convince them, because I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm not trying to convince a person to take on my ideas or anybody. No, I'm trying. What I was doing when I was building with this brother is I said, listen, you see what he's going through? He's going through a lot of stuff he has to let go. All right? Automatically. All right? That's just from sitting in these ceremonies and doing the medicine. I already knew what was going on with the brother. But I said, but you, the brother I was talking to in the hallway, I said, you're going to have a different experience. I said, you're going to have a different experience because you've been working on yourself for a long time. And also, we already know, bro, that you've had many lifetimes in Kemet where you were, where he was a pharaoh of many times. And dog, and I'm gonna go right into that, because when he did say, yo, when he called me, yo, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna let you know, twin, like, yo, peep game, because he said he was the third one to go afterwards, and he said, nah, I'm gonna take it. So he had the courage to take it at that moment, and the dude had a wonderful experience, which I knew he was going to have. You know what I mean? At one point, he was shaking in the beginning, because you have to understand. You have to understand. Most of us, two things with the shaking thing in the beginning. Two things. It's either you're letting go lower vibrational entities, or that you're trying to adjust from the dimension going to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. All these dimensions, because what happens is when you take the Bufo, you simultaneously break through all these dimensions simultaneously. So you're released. Yeah. So a person, they're trying to adjust. Yeah, you're trying to adjust from going to 3rd dimension to going to your higher self simultaneously. So this is what happens sometimes with the shaking thing in the beginning sometimes. So after he got out of that, he was rolling. At one point, you could tell he was having like some cosmic sex, because he was fucking around, and you seen him, because he was like, yes, he's like, give me some more, you know what I mean? So I was like, yo, dude's going for it. Yeah. And I mean, and you have to understand, it's cleansing out all those chakras. So it's cleansing out the sexual frequency chakra in you. It's cleansing out all these different things. Yes, love.
I wonder, right? If this medicine is really helping a person jump through actual timelines, like
yes, it is.
Space travel.
Yes, it is. It is.
Space travel, and what's that vehicle that people go to back in the time?
The
time machine.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Say something about that.
It is.
Because I see a person going up, and going here. To another end and coming.
It is.
I just seen that. Like,
yes.
They're coming back down, but it's to another time.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to say this about that, which is really incredible, which is the fact, as we deal with this existence, we deal with the existences of other existences. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they call it the multiverses. You know what I'm saying? I mean, different time, different moments. So you witness a synchronization. In every situation, if you choose to start to manifest the strong oneness with the universe as it's supposed to be, then you're able to say to yourself, yo, I am that I am.
Yeah.
And I do as I do.
Yeah.
I do as I do.
Yes.
I do as I shall.
This is very true. This is very true.
I just said that to myself, and I said I do what the fuck I want to do. I've had 2 children. I'm 34 years old. I'm gonna be.
You're gonna manifest. You're gonna manifest. Exactly.
I mean, this is the
everything.
This is the beauty of what we call God. Because when you enter singularity, what God was telling me, and that's why I said everything is perfect.
That's right. Everything is God. Sure.
Everything is perfect, and that's why we always call it the divine comedy. Because when you look at this and see that the only thing the Sufi mystics say, Allah, Ilaha, Ilallahu, meaning that the only thing exists is Allah, or the only thing that exists is Great Spirit. So when you go into these psychedelic experiences, you understand that it's God only having conversation with God. You understand that he's playing all the roles, and he can do whatever the hell he or she wants, like you were saying. Now, now it becomes interesting because some people says, well, what about the crime? What about the wars? What about the racism? What about all these other things? Now, from a human level, we understand. No, from a human level, we understand that there's things called good and bad. We understand that there's things called morality. We understand that things that could be like deemed as harmful or good or good natured. But when you go into singularity, you understand how all those things connected. That's right. And from that place and that view, it's amazing. That's what you mastermind. You know what I mean?
The grandmaster.
So the thing that's interesting is this, right? When I seen that brother go through what he went through and he had a good experience, he told me and he called me the next day. He said, Dooley, he said, thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be able to medicine. And second of all, he said, I didn't want to come back. It's like when people experience Bufo or these medicines, it's like you're going back home. You're going back to your true identity.
Right.
You're going back. There was a story of an old yogi who gained enlightenment. And he was sitting under a tree. And he seen this butterfly passing by. And he went into a place of singularity. And he knew he had to let out a scream. Because at that point, he didn't know what his identity was anymore. Wow. Because at that point, he was the butterfly passing by. He was the wind that went. It was blowing. He was the tree that he was laying on. He was the actual human that was breathing in and out of the air. And he became everything until it snapped back to him being a human being. You know? Yeah. So you understand with a lot of these medicines, you become, a lot of things inside you become very quiet. You start to be very just okay. Not only with yourself, but everything. You know what I mean? And when you understand that, it brings a level of more relaxation and just comfort. Yes. Because when you take these medicines, I guarantee you not. It's a lot of, that's why when Harvard University and Yale, when you have Yale, when you have daggone, not Princeton, but this one university, MIT? No, not MIT. This was one university who's doing a lot of studies. When you see how they have their studies with anxiety and these things, it's being helped with that because you're coming to a place of acceptance. You know, there's so much gratitude that comes to you when you come back from these journeys because you have a place of like, yo, I don't care about what society tells me anymore. I don't care about what my family tells me anymore. I'm not trying to live up to my wife. That comes from a place of humbleness and gratitude. But guess what? He had a big old smile on his face because this is the warrior shit. This is the warrior shit many people had to do as rites of passage anyway. So he is battling his inner lower self, battling the lower dimensional entities that want to, frequencies that want to hold on to him. That's why when my wife took the medicine and started to go into her higher self, what happened to her? She was automatically doing, she's a G, because she was out of everybody being able to stand with it and be like, oh, you know what I mean? Yes, I'm gonna walk into her Ascent or Isis wings came out. And she came out, walked with her wings, and literally started doing this. What did she do, Diamond Spirit? Keep this. No, not only did she turn into the Phoenix, but she was able to be conscious that all the entities that her, she was wiping them off of her like this. Was she not? She was like this. She's like, this is heavy. This is heavy. Let me get off. And when she walked into her higher self, and this happens to me all the time too. That's why them lower entities can't stand me when I take the medicine, because I see things on people on their etheric level, on their auric field, and I'm like, yo, you've been carrying this on you for a long time. Take this off. You don't need that. Let me blow that off you. Let me send that chi to you. Let's see, you know, one is feeding off you, been feeding off you for a long time. You know what I mean? It's triggering your anger. It's triggering your depression. It's triggering your anxiety. It's giving you thoughts of suicidal thoughts.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Every time when I do healings with people, it's not the resistance of the person that's resistant. It's the resistance of the entity sending a message to the human that gives you resistance. You know what I mean? Because them hosts that's on that person know that they about to check out their hotel. They know that their time at their hotel is up, that they have to pack their bags and gotta go. You know what I mean? So that's what happens. There's that resistance. So when you see them people daggone rolling on the floor and all that, they're resisting not only their higher self, but resisting also the level of these entities that have been holding on to them. So not only did he, and I'm gonna tell you this, he had a smile on his face after he went through that ill type of battle with himself, to deal with his lower self.
Necessary.
And I mean, and after he did that, we got him a first aid kit, put the bandages on him and stuff.
That's right.
His girl kissed him on there and said, "You did a beautiful job."
Yeah.
She did a beautiful job. You know what I mean? Because she went through similar things where she had to let go.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And the tears coming down and her banging on the floor and all this. You know what I mean? But it's the release.
It's the release.
You know what I mean? And then the other homie that was there, I was worried about him because dude was flipping over. He fell on his head twice.
Wow.
I was like, I hope this man don't get no damn concussion. You know what I mean? But what happened is, at the end, what happened? He's a better person.
Stronger person.
You know what I mean? Stronger person. This man has called me and told me things are shifting in his life as we speak.
That's real.
You know what I mean? He just thinks of the experience and goes back to that frequency.
And you know why? Because he was hitting his head. Now watch what happened. When he was hitting his head, he was actually unlocking the chambers of the event. Sometimes people
that happens too.
Accidents.
Do you know? And I know what exactly. Yo, so on point. There was cases. There was a case of this guy that hit his head and he came out talking Yiddish. His head and he came out talking Yiddish. Dude never another. It's all in you. It's all in you already. So I've shared a little bit about what happened with the shaman, with the medicine, with some of the people that was. I want Diamond Spirit to speak upon how it was for him to be a translator and how the whole experience was for him in general with this Bufo medicine. The brother didn't get a chance to take it, unfortunately, that day, but I want his and amen. I want his take on what he observed during this. So yes, brother, sit down and let's build on it. And Yo, I would like to take your take on it too. If you would like to share as well. You know what I mean? It's both up to y'all.
So basically,
okay, yes.
What happened in my moments of translating during the ceremony, first of all, I went in there with the intentions of love, peace, and happiness and spreading that upon all the people individually as I met them, and which I did do, and it was very important to me to do such so.
Okay.
So to adopt the love, peace, and happiness is the ultimate state of success. And then when you have that, you just gravitate towards everything that you embrace everything, you accept everything, you hold on to the hope that things will get better. And it will get better, and every moment's getting better. Now, get back to the ceremony, I was able to translate for a brother Alberto. I dropped the science on the thing, but the whole point is that we saw such a powerful energy of being able to summon our ancestors and our people and just hope for them for the best. But what was happening was we were dealing with the people, letting them know it's going to be perfectly fine, letting them know most importantly about the breathing, because it's all about the breath. The breath, you have to hold it, pull it in, and completely first and foremost, you know? First you take a deep breath, then you take a deep breath, hold it, swallow, exhale completely, and then you want to inhale again.
Yes.
And then you take in the smoke very slowly, though.
Yes.
Very slowly.
Yes.
And as you're taking it in,
Turn it down a little so they could hear you better.
As you're taking it in, you're gonna feel some things happening, some changes taking place. And area, lung, you know, and all that, and you know what I'm saying. And the cranial activity that was happening to the people was different for everyone. But encouraging them to stay on the positive path. If they stay on the positive path, constantly shift their minds and back to positive psychotherapy or positive thought affirmations and vibrations, then you can actually heal yourself. It's like riding a bicycle, or maybe swimming in the water while holding your breath. It takes concentration. Everything takes concentration. So you have to know how to focus your mind. If you don't focus your mind,
that's interesting to say that though, because one I noticed that you were saying it was about the breath. The breath, and the shaman was saying that if a person doesn't know how to use their breath correctly with this medicine, it's like they won't get anything from the medicine. Won't be able to work.
Won't be effective
on it. So that's something I noticed as well, that if a person really wants to go deep within themselves, they have to be able to really take in that deep breath. And even when you think you can't smoke any more of the medicine in, just keep on breathing in very slowly and breathing in from that diaphragm. You know, that's key. That's one thing that I found is key. Also, in your experience, would you give anybody any advice that might want to be interested in taking this medicine, and they might be a little scared or have apprehension or nervous to take it that? Because because that's what I was saying with the two guys that was there that took it before my other friend. They were pretty nervous. They were pretty scared, because when you look at someone like scratching their own face or hitting them face, or you know, or acting like howling like an animal or whatever, some real primal so-called primitive behavior was coming out of people, especially like, again, and this is very interesting, because the thing is this, this is interesting, because when we examine this, I had a couple of people that were there that said to themselves, well, I don't want to be looked at differently after this ceremony. I don't want to. That's the ego, right? Yeah, that's the ego. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to. Now you said that's. They thought that. Yeah, that's the ego.
Oh, you know, I want the people to see me bugging on. Don't focus on that. Focus on yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
You control yourself.
It's true.
Go from mastery to grand mastery. But before that, you have that knowledge itself.
It's very true.
Self mastery, then grand mastery, dog. And it's like, and it's a grand mystery how the grand mastery goes from mastery to grand mastery.
You know what it is too. You know what it is too, brother. Because like I was saying before, we live in such a controlling system. Just to be control freaks. So when I heard that from people that I don't want to be taken out of character, you know, is there any advice for people how to first deal with fear? What I noticed is interesting, and this is what I noticed. Last time I dealt with this particular shaman, he started off people with combo first, and I think I feel that was great, especially when I was doing that with him and the group of people he was doing it with. I think combo. I mean, not combo. I'm not saying combo. Excuse me. Rape first. I didn't really get that much sleep last night. He was doing rape or hape first. Shamanic snuff medicine.
Was the brain baby.
Rape is good because it helps really ground a person. It really
off those neurons.
Yeah, it really a person, especially if they have a lot of nervous energy going on with them. There's a lot of shamans that actually start a great place to start with a person. He didn't do it this time with people. I'm curious.
You know what I noticed what he mentioned to me? He feels like a lot of people don't value. Let me run it back. A lot of people don't value the steps that it takes to be a shaman or a sorcerer, you know what I'm saying, or a warlock or a magi or a mystic, you know what I'm saying? This is some serious shit, bro. You know,
it is serious,
bro. It's gonna fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why he was saying, he was like, He's like, they don't need this, they don't need that, The reason why, because he feels like they don't value the energy that's put forth. But the problem is that people are materialistically driven these days. So you have to understand, you have to have a compassion on those minds. Those minds are just simple creature minds. You know,
do you feel like this? Do you feel like, and this could go along with the level of race in the psychedelic community?
That's deep.
Do you feel that? And I've encountered this with a lot of shamans from Peru, from Brazil, different places. And some of these shamans have told me they're the so-called New Age community and the watering down of the mystic shaman path. Or that level of like, okay, again, going back to this being a fad or whatever. Right. So when they encounter people, a lot of these shamans might have maybe a jaded way of looking at people that they encounter here in America. Right. You know what I mean? Like, could you feel that there could be some jadedness along some of the shamans that might come to the city and say, well, you know, I encountered these Americans, I encountered these people in the US, and it seems like it's a joke for them or whatever. And do you feel that could be the case sometimes?
Honestly, the situation was so deep because I never came across a situation like that in which I encountered another shaman that was just like, he was upset and offended at some of the way that the people were treating him.
Wow.
So what I noticed was that like, he was focusing on that, but he had a lot of great things to offer as well, which was giving the people the medicine prior to them in pain. And that's a powerful energy system, man. He didn't care about so much about the money people thought he did when they had it wrong.
Yeah.
That's an ancient Egyptian mystery school. He just gave that ass. But he always, because he gave that medicine out with love. Medicine gave it out with love.
Yeah.
And how many people contributed to that? But it's okay. That's not the main focus. He was just focusing to help them understand how materially driven they are by not being able to contribute that if they couldn't, or contribute whatever they can.
Now, could that come to the place of saying that? No. Could this be coming to the place of talking about financial independence?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because residual income and stuff. Because when we talk about why don't we see a lot of black people or melanated people at these psychedelic or shamanistic conferences or retreats, could it be a possibility? You know what I mean? We have some white folk or other folk off to do finance and go to these places and at their own expense and be able to, you know, contribute these, you know, to contribute with these and experience these medicines. Whereas some people here in the hood might really
have no clue about these.
No, not only clue. Not only clue, but also financially. You know what I mean? When it comes to a place of saying, okay, this person works at this minimum wage job, all right, and they're basically trying to make ends meet and have just roof over their house, right? They don't have the financial independence to be able to say, oh, I got an extra $300, $400 for this particular weekend thing or this medicine. So could it be that some of these shamans who come from another part of the planet who don't really understand what's going on in the hood or the ghettos or the poverty right here in the so-called land of the free? You know what I mean? One educating them to let them know that people, especially people of color, are going through these type of things here. You know what I mean?
But the problem there lies in the mind state of the people too, because when you think that you are successful, you will treat yourself successful.
It's true.
When you think that you're successful, you live in a third world
country. Like, yo, bro.
Even if you lived in a third world country,
yeah,
you could still have people who master the elements and still have medicines to sell.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They know how to pick up bags of dirt and to people who are farmers.
But brother,
anything you want to do.
But brother, we have to understand too that all deals with education.
True indeed.
That's the biggest thing. Education. If you have no one to educate you, you know, and there's no one to teach you about how to become financially independent, how to learn about a certain trade or do certain things to even become your own businessman or any of those things, or even teach you to have a level of self-respect for yourself, or to let you know give you confidence. It start with the seeds that's growing in a child's brain. You know? So I'm not gonna give. I'm not gonna give everyone a pass and say, well, woe is me. This and he's lost in the sauce. There's always hope for a person. There's always a person has the ability to make something of themselves. But I think at the same time, you have certain people that have an advantage point because of just on a pure thing of education, and also being able to just also have what I'm trying to look for the right word for it. Accessibility to these things. You know what I mean? They have accessibility to the medicine.
Right.
So all I'm saying is with these shamans coming down, man, do you have people that understand that? How can you build? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that definitely want to change, that definitely want healing, that. But and definitely to deal with their trauma and different things, but they might not have the financial means. So because of that, where are people? If people are saying, "Oh, I want to help people. I want to be able to be a part of this growing movement of consciousness." Where are people coming to that place and say, how can we have more funding or pool or money pooled together to say we could have funding for people of color so they can go to retreats and do different things. You know what I mean? So yeah, so you know, these are just some thoughts that I had about some of this stuff. But overall, I think it was genius. I think that the brother coming up and working, we had almost about 15 people over all the experience with that, which
they were all better and doing much better.
Man, it's beautiful. Combo people really deal with their pain and with a lot of mental issues as well. So it's just been beautiful, and I just wanted to share with people. You know what I mean? It's been a while since I've been on social media or doing the videos or anything like that, and it's not been happening like that because basically, you know what I mean, I just been doing my own inner work, you know what I mean, and the more on work I do for myself, the more I think I could be really a more person that can contribute, yes, definitely, to my community, my family and stuff, you know what I mean. And at the end of the day, go beyond the fear. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when a false evidence appearing real, when at the end of the day, when a person really experiences this type of
release.
No, not even release. When you have the Bufo experience or some of these very meditative experiences, because DMT is in us already, you know. So that's the thing that people have to understand anyways. They're like, oh, you're taking a drug, no, that's something in us, first of all, in us naturally. You know what I mean? So we are a living psychedelic. You know what I mean? We come into this world in a psychedelic state. Our mothers download a massive amounts of DMT. Being born, you know what I mean? We release massive amount of DMT when we're going through the death process. So this is natural. This is a part of our life, death. You know what I mean? So when a person goes to that DMT state, that, you know, in this case, 5-MeO DMT, if you're able to, lucky enough to be able to swim in the bliss of singularity or swim in the bliss of that one mind, you'll see how infinite amounts of love there is. You know what I mean? When you have a taste of that pure nectar, that's when you understand it's much, much more to you, and everything is going to be okay. You know what I mean? So as we approach the freestyle, as we approach these lyrics for y'all before we have the outro.
Check it. Let me set it off first. I got you, Twin. Yo, we'll pass it back and forth. Yo, got it from my brother Twin over here. You know that we come through with a positive energy. Grin bestowed upon men. It's not an imagination type of grin or a smile. It's a beautiful smile of love, peace, and happiness. Yeah, something wild. Something like a flaming fire that's magical. Yo, but even it be white magic because it's the darkest light, darkest energy. My mind is deep upon the mind. Yo, so I be grandmaster of my mastery, and I spit in that dope, causing disasters to these individuals that want to break me down, because they're continual to be minimal, and then we break them down and leave them in the body of the chimney.
Indeedy, these some bars for y'all. All right, real quick. before we have this outro, because you know we love hip hop. As the new age starts to glisten, self-talk becomes a lesson in the mastery of intuition. Many are misled with the rooted wisdom. They invest in themselves like they're making money off of prison. As I walking by, I notice love hanging from a barren tree. She asked me, is the concept of freedom something really free? Or is it just another new cage degree where your mind unfolds and your brain starts to see a true definition of a G? Was the status of Bay, L, or even Ali? To many, the movement could seem so oddly. Seen visions of a new page, scale cap buried with some ancient artifacts, more like the ancient times, a Sumer or Iraq. He didn't like to listen to the trap. He only tripped on a psilocybin cap while getting nice in the stone is flat. Eyes dilated as he choked on that sticky nub sack. In all definition, do people really listen? Could it be that your hook is so rusty that you ain't good at no fishing? Simple to mind it, you could say he was perceived by the rest. But he didn't care because he didn't live a life full of stress. I guess I gotta manifest what I really know, because all them things related to the cash flow one day gotta go. Happiness is not bought in an expensive store. When you think that you're always so sure, that mentality just make my brain so sure. No, so sore, so annoying, like a split lips cold sore. Plus you can't make a wife out of someone's whore unless her mind wanna take flight and wants more. And if she's willing to go beyond her old ways, don't let regret show up in your old grays. What you say, you don't blaze? Well, excuse me while I take a big puff of that haze and let my whole entire chest concave, staying on my dean and blowing off some ill steam for all the brave who paid dues. Hold up. Who paid dues with the flowers that were laid. Hold on.
Yo, staying on your dean and staying on your solar energy.
Hold on. Get another beat though. Get another faster. Yo, can you get give me some Earl sweatshirt type, Flying Lotus type. You know what I mean? How's everybody doing? I think we got some comments here.
I'm sure we're the best, man. What's the set? Shout out to Flying Lotus too. That was bringing some of the beats in the background. These are my beats, man. Like I love man. We get it on any beat, whatever who wants to do this, but I gotta keep it moving soon. I love y'all. Yo, it's deep, I go coastal, go loco, put deep, the demons in the dope thing. Yo, it's crazy the way I so cold, deep, be able to analyze me, utilize my mental weaponry, telekinetically. Yo, I'm exceptionally a deep-minded MC, who I be. Grand master be sorcery escorting me to be able to never be divorced to me. Yo, it's deep, it hurts to see. So many people live in love with themselves, not knowing about self-care, and not knowing about knowledge of self-care, not knowing about self-care, and not knowing about knowledge of self-care, and knowledge of wisdom, self-wisdom, self-knowledge, self-understanding. Beat the way that I start to be changing the habit.
Okay. Got a beat for me? All right. Okay. Like this. All right. Yo. They break men by killing their self-esteem. I resonate with the Trinity because everything's a holographic dream. Activate the synapses and break the addiction of a fiend. They got kids tripping, sipping on some lean, secrete high levels of DMT, and expand my whole mind to another type of frequency as my higher self downloads the info and starts speaking to me. It's like so secretly, end goes in life to live peacefully, veils being pulled down. I had to take aim at lames who exclaim and want to tarnish. How can you find a glory in some shit stain? I'm just gonna be honest. Form mudras with my hands that can harness energy and the capacity of healing. I could see my astral cord go through the ceiling. My family didn't believe me, but it was all too revealing. I had to take it easy. Dimensional veils being pulled down with the aid of a psychoactive compound. Olmec heads and giant burial grounds. Mesoamerican pyramids formed as mounds, fezzes on the heads of those that were crowned. My libation is when I'm pissing on the ground. Ever heard of urine therapy? I yearn for sincerity. The Aboriginal Cherokee who took on the centaur that looked like a centipede, while many are tiptoeing around their identity. Just trusting the process and giving to serenity. It's the release of all the honest, simple pleasures in life, like singing in the rain. The hell with the fun and the fame. What's the point of money and the riches when you are addicted to a bunch of cocaine and some grimy ass bitches. The industry will put you through a loophole and finding your true self that becomes something so crucial. So crucial.
So crucial. Because see, I'm a Ryan touch. I'm definitely towards Orion. Yo, my astral projectors I send to higher dimension of existence and continue on with equilibrium at all times. Yo, I fortify my mind and I concentrate at all times. Yo, I discovered this, created everything. Yo, it's deep inside of my mind. It's a wedding that I must put on and be able to adorn. Self-care, self-knowledge, and also mastery, the grand mastery, no mystery involved unless I choose to make your mind a mystery to be able to study. My mystery takes physically the impossibilities of intricacy. Yo, when that's fucking infinite, I spit it dope, I'm gifted with ill talent to be able to be put in good conditions, bitches that be acting like they tough, talking about this whack niggas.
Yo, put that other beat on, bro. Put that other beat on, man. Put that flying Moses joint on. Hold on. Yeah. Hope the family's doing good. I'm about to do the outro with this. Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna end this one for now. So I gotta use the back and all that. You know.
Yeah.
You're in therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Had to throw in my line.
I love y'all. Peace. It's real though. That was good. Yeah, that was good. That's true though. Yeah, right. That's therapy for everything. Yeah. People find therapy in pain and suffering too. You know that, right? They hang from their skin and stuff. Crazy.
Yo.
You
got a beat? You got a beat for me? Yeah. Let's see. I hope the family is doing wonderful indeedy. Give to the needy. Indeedy. Make sure you do this is the winter around winter time when we deal with Qigong and deal with the lungs. There's an exercise everyone could do at home. You make a mudra like this with your hands, like an L, like big L with both of your hands. You breathe in deeply and you exhale. And as you exhale, you make the sound hiss. As you do that, visualize your lungs, see energy and light coming into your lungs. You could stand doing this exercise with your feet shoulder width apart. Breathing deeply through the nose, exhaling through the nose.
Yeah,
all right, you got a beat?
I just saw this. This is flying lotus right here and shit.
Yeah,
he's going through a trip right now. Right?
Yeah, put that other joint on, man, so the people can get this.
So the radio or
no, put
playlist, right?
Yeah, no, put on that beat that I had before.
Oh yeah. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
This beat's nasty. I'm glad we weren't on this one too. I'm gonna just use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, maybe people that just mate. Over here. Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Oh shit.
Indeedy. It is. Coming from a stark of a lightened type of figures, no Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix, wiping down with some Windex. Just imagine if he never struck a guitar, Bruce Lee against Abdul Kareem Jabbar. I come from the Orion star, where beings are dark as night. Something like an Israelite that says, Hamdulillah, who got next? I guess it's the one that holds many styles of confidence. Tantric sex with alien broads. I rock high heel shoes and glow in the dark neon leotards. A Vista guard who could spit cosmic bars. I seen Incubus and Sycabus hanging at the bar, talking about who's the next fic they gonna scar. They say my thoughts could be outlandish. I still got memories how they whipped and straight brand us. Epic genetics memories in my DNA, and they can't stand us. The hate that they hand us is the egotistical pride that they brandish. Lost cities and pictographs of gods coming out of ships of light. It's not hard to see in the past we went more bright. We have much more light, and it's all illuminated. Keep my chakras spinning, don't make my shit complicated. Simple Simon, study with the shamans that's Hawaiian. Sitting on lava, drinking kava, upgraded genetics of the Java. I'm not your average ghetto author. 2 criminals have hung with the martyr. Like the ancient kahunas, my chi will dissolve all your cancers in your tumors. My grandma had my grandpa's German Luger. I shift the paradigm, doing slot on Juma. Late bloomers in this game. I smoke from a lucid strain. Got arrested for the first time for doing graffiti on the train. Handcuffed in a chair, being asked, what set do I claim? Looking at the officer, confused, what do you mean? I'm an artist, what else do I have to gain? Yeah.
What else do I have to gain?
Yeah.
How can we not maintain? Gotta constantly maintain.
Yeah, like this, like this. So many programmed to have a backward state of mind. Indeedy. Indeedy.
Let them know, twin.
Indeedy. It's time to get them. It's about time. About time. Okay. So many programmed to have a backward state of mind, which in all reality could be perceived as a corporate type of crime. With their shiny suits, Nazi steel boots smell like a bunch of filthy swine. Enter the Stargate portal, become immortal, and there's no such thing as time. A second could be a trillion years. A teardrop could be turned into an ocean where a warrior falls on his many fears. You see, karma's a funny situation, especially when you try to escape the fate that you're facing. The worship of the mother was the true meaning behind a mason. They poke holes in your pocket so you could have the leakage with your Ben Franklins. So fickle, he escaped escapism when he knew it was all for the taking. The parasites all up in your crispy bacon make you so complacent in the basement where the mixed sticks didn't eat from the bottom feeders. Chlorophyll and cayenne pepper for the chills and fevers. Couldn't walk on these Boston streets without your Adidas. The Moors taught the inner science to the gypsy readers. Tarot deck cards and crystal balls. Keystone walls that fall like Kemet. When we had a ball, the snow fell on his expensive shawl as he traveled through the snow-covered lands of Tibet, where the lamas had memory recall so they could never forget. I could never take a half step or some bad bets, a living Aztec. The present moment was his last breath. It's the shame how many take a career in the art of faking. Fabrication agents need to do some mental raking. Latent with the process, it's obvious that they caught up in the nonsense, doing rituals to Saturn's cube. Never been an average dude, you get hypnotized in your vehicle while I be riding a bike without an inner tube. Innocent like a newborn, but more complex than a colorful Rubik's Cube. I'm 1990s death certificate Ice Cube. Some new niggas now stomp out your attitude, making radical moves cause we ain't time to lose.
You know that. You know that. You know that. Nah. You know that. You eat that. You feel that. You speak that. I beat that. Deeper. And the individual that gets so deep of sleep. I'm able to be religiously incredibly. I'm able to be seeing you as a part of me. Now I take you with me to a higher consciousness vibratory type of frequency. Elegantly.
Throw that back. One more. One more for the peoples. Throw that back.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one?
Yeah, now just rewind it. Throw that back. Throw that back. Throw that back.
What does this nigga want, man? Yo, what's up, man?
How's the people doing out there? How's the people doing out there? Let me know if you care.
I gotta wait till later, bro, because I have to help my boy. Yeah, I'll let you know when I get back, bro. Alright, well.
Yo, put a beat on for me again, man, so I could get out here, man. Gotta do some laundry. Mike's gonna kill me. Yeah. Throw that beat back. Indeedy. Like this, like this. This is for the Bufo lovers.
Get some berries, enjoy them. Eat them and make them feel magical inside of your mind.
Yeah. Got my daughter there. Yeah, doing her thing. Yo. On the new moon, I seen a golden eagle. It told me to take Bufo and kill my alter ego. Living a life becomes an epic journey type of sequel. Hidden architecture like the entrance of a fungi cathedral. Now that's vintage class regal. Self-realization is a cure for a traumatized people. Don't mind me, cause I already know I be the ish. The frog that received the greatest kiss. Transformed into an old Moorish prince. Now that's the DMT download of active bliss. I'm something like the main protagonist that never held a stance on the cheek. Never took a stance on a turn the other cheek. Pacifist, revolutionary, ghetto activist. It's the clenched fist power, something like the Iron Fist. His plane crashed down at the dimensional Kulong Tower. Never been into the scriptures, but I think we at the revolutionary's final hour. Aesop fables had lessons in folk tale, like the turtle against the hare. Or is it the beat over the snare? Is it the cold stare that you receive when no one's there? Now, is it the paranoia? Or could be eaten like Cherimoya, the wind being deified as Oya. Many were unable to transmit, unfit to expose a hologram counterfeit with all the slime, dirt, and grit. Made some come to a crying fit, cause they seen the reenactment of their hemispheres get split. Peptides and saliva all in my spit. And even if I had the illest whip, I would still tell them youngins the true definition of a crip. Community revolutionary in progress. Huey P. Newton stomped out all the BS and the nonsense. No pedestals, just essence of true confidence. There's 3 stages to you, and it's all revealed in your subconscious. They say he must be going bananas. You rock the universal bandanas, outlandish with the UFO cosmic dances. We enhance you to kill all the disease and the cancers, cause disease can't reside where the great minds congregate and don't collide. We ain't supposed to die. We ain't supposed to die. A body, I'm the poster guy, the many that many will never forget. It's all about influence, not about industry hit. Yeah.
We were never meant to die. We were never meant to die. Okay. So you might turn the swivel on the gear with this focus on me intelligently. My mind is focused on higher personifications of dedication currently. I'm currently making this currency, yo, on the low low, speak it all positive, that's what it is. So naturally you have to glow. Show people that I'm no longer dealing with financial mechanic gold. Enslavement, my mind is a different behavior, arrangement, yo, with these my bang. Blow out flames, man, with positive energy, generations of devastation, of love, peace, and happiness. And that's it. Takes an assassination. That's what you got, boy.
Ooh. Now this is how I come back with the stylistic ill track or illicit ill artifact. Who I be, my stylistically be going for the free. They couldn't even fuck with me. This is how I gotta be, my own frequency. Be talking about everybody gotta be free. Great to break, grateful to breathe, grateful for ability to proceed, grateful for the Rasta man read, grateful for the abundance, no trick up my sleeve. No one starts off as a criminal when they got to start to thieve. Who's really among us? We some killmongers. I spend my mind with the fungus. They stuck in the muck and they need some serious plungers. The so-called elite is on a safari. Life is like Atari. Do I ever get bored? Hardly. I deal with the goddess, not some bimbo type of Barbie. We stay on point with our lyrics while their bars be tarty. We invoking the ancestor spirits while we smoking on some potent parsley. Do you feel it? A synthetic reality with witch doctors and headhunters, the grunters that came out the cave while we had Mayan jumpers, the foundation that was laid. And currency is just a current, and the bank blocks the current so you never get paid. It's the Bushmaster Nightshade. This the imagery of the butler and the maid. We never flunky on the planet of the monkey, early hominoids, knuckle dragon looking like they kind of chunky. Now it's really evolution, or is it a path that we're all choosing? In modern day Iraq, they found ancient artifacts about advanced race of blacks, star travelers in the past, cave wall paintings depict them as the gods of the last. Changing cycle, they hold bow and arrows while we had self-activated laser beam type of the first slaves of the 8 primates. We opened up the 7 gates and activated the dormant gene substrate. Now from hunters and gatherers to complex thinkers and technology masters. Seemed like Frankenstein had a love-hate relationship with his creator. It said that they strayed from the equator, but the crater on the moon would give you if a different indicator about his story. Or is it her story? Our story will never be fully told, because if it did, the system of control would implode. Hold on. Yes, this is another song talking about people, how we can get along. Don't know what's really happening, still happening. Talking to me like it's things like clapping it. Hold on, what's really going on? Same song. People talk about getting along. Same song. Stand strong. Hold on, I'll kick one more bar for you like this. Yo, whoop, 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 whoop. That's the sound of the police. Police, the parasite, ill type beast. Black people been catching brutality since day one. And it didn't start with Eric Garner or even a slave gun. I used to watch Martin. Now I watch Trayvon Martin lay deep in a coffin. A target with Skittle candies while he was walking. Fear of melanated people. This happens very too damn often. So don't come to me with the chitter chatter or even the talking about we need to vote when my neighbor's cousin back in the days got yoked around his neck was a tight string rope. They had to cut him down early in the morning as the trees broke silence with the crying in the morning. Still got blood stains from the black skin that was hanged. The black bark tells horror stories of the limbs that were maimed, and they had the nerve to take pictures grinning as they hold the testicles of some black niggas. It makes you really think, what could bring on such a level of hate? Is it a devilish mind state, behavior learned as a child, or some type of karmic fate? Whatever it is, it really shows on a whole how primitive it really is. They're killing the planet, and opioids now got good zombie kids. The real gangsters are the banksters that investing in war, that invest in money in war. A lust for power has made him empty to his core. I don't even think some people even have an inner core or a soul, because their only concern is his bankroll. True definition of a butthole. Know the benefits of activated charcoal. When you die, you go back through the black hole. Same hole as your mother's, but now it's a wormhole. I picked the tarot card of the lovers. Yeah, this is how it really happening. Couldn't understand. I don't like the streets of gun clapping. And the only thing I really like is just wisdom, knowledge plus overstanding. Couldn't even see how we enhancing. I'm like John Hanson, like the knife type of president. We so handsome with our lyrics, can't even stand them. Well, you're gonna stand us, because we're gonna change the game. And you couldn't even see. Never did up my nose at cocaine. The only thing I blew up my nose was called the rappy. Sacred snuff, tobacco. My hair is nappy. None either. It couldn't even see how I go through speakers. Even if you even look at me like, God damn, he's a tweaker. Meaning like I'll go change frequencies with speakers. Acting like you's an ill type of reacher or preacher. You go down aisles. A new movie feature like this. Yo, parasite like the leechers. Get down, couldn't even see. This is a free sound, freestyle, free sound, frequency that comes through the inner soul. They couldn't even put my whole life on remote control. Couldn't even see I be breaking the mode. MK Chocha got your victim of the ultra. Got y'all like a vulture. Y'all like John Travolta dancing in the disco type of era, but I be bringing another. Oh, hold on, just playing around. Yeah, just sentimental. It's no more judgmental. This is just sentimental. There's no more judgmental. It's just all in the mental. There's no more judgmental. It's only in the mental. Who you gonna be? Who you gonna be? Who you really gonna be? Who you really gotta see? Who you really frequency? Who wanna fuck with? We couldn't really be my whole family. Be talking about things like the noble Juali. That be like Morris couldn't even see my porridge. Couldn't even see the things that you adored. I be on record. Yo, I gotta go, man. I gotta do my dishes, man, and gotta do some laundry and ish. But I love y'all, man. Thank you, man. This is hip hop. This is talking about current events. This is talking about mind expansion. This is talking about the true nature of reality. This is talking about combo. This is talking about Bufo. This is talking about ayahuasca. This is talking about peyote. This is talking about, San Pedro. This is talking about all those things. We love it. And that's healing. That's healing. Walk with love. Understand you could be it. Because you are it. Peace. Peace. How do you end this thing? How the hell do you end this one?
Got mad videos on YouTube, bro. Some videos got mad beautiful. They're all beautiful. You know, even thoughts could be
Yeah, man. Hold on, man. 1 second, bro. I'm just trying to turn this damn shit off, man. Hold on. Hold on, man. Excuse me.